Basketball Talk Pro. Well, the title, Measurement Design, I specifically put the word design in there. Measurement, of course, you should all know by now, we measure our performance. We call it statistics, we call it science, but we really are measuring how well we do. The reason I use the word design is to encourage each and every one of you to develop your own design of statistics that you want to help you coach your team better and help your team win. Because right now, we've gone through such a change in the statistical world and environment and the attitude towards statistics. For so many years, we had too little. Now we've got too much. You have to balance it. And I think today, if you will listen closely, you will see a balance. A balance because we've been doing this for a long time, a lot longer than the people who are now coming up with all kinds of different aspects of statistics. I said this many, many times, but I mean it. Statistics, data, measurement are a tool. They're not coaching. They're just a tool to help you coach. They're not going to create anything wonderful for you, but they will help you if you know how to do it and you do it consistently and alertly with attention to what you're trying to do. Today I'm going to try to show you a design. It's our design. It's been built up over years, and it was not built in order to show off statistical information. It was built to win games. It was built under the pressure of having to win games and to perform at a high level and in high competition. So it's not just happenstance. It's not some theory that we got. And the guys that worked with me through these years know what I'm talking about. The work and the sweat and the thinking and the planning that we went through and developed certain things that we knew we needed to know. And that is the theory behind a design. Only do what you have to do. Stay with the essential elements. Don't get caught up in this world of interesting statistical information, but not necessarily information that does you any good. I saw a thing on a coach. Actually, the guy, the coachee coaching at TCU, actually played for me at one time. But he's gotten so wrapped up in statistics, he can't do any coaching. Everything is like a remote. Everything has got to be meet some kind of a logarithm or some kind of formula. He has ceased to be coaches. I don't want that to happen to you. These are tools. Well, I will start on this design that I have. I want to tell you that today's list of videos is much longer. And a lot of the things I'm telling you can be found on those videos, and they are explained in much more detail. Well, the first thing that we want in our design of what we want is OER DER. I think that that's a forgotten tool that is very valuable. We have used it almost like, we haven't thought much about it because it was just there. But in going through this stuff with Paul Keller, which I am like a detective trying to find more about him, I began to see what a wonderful design he made, the system that he put together in 1960. And at that time, a lot of us had it. You know, we used it because that's what we had. Wooden was using it when he won those all those NCAA tournament games. The biggest names in basketball were using it. Now it's kind of died out because we're carried away with so many other things. But that's one of the first things that we do, is we find the OER-DER. The second thing we do is the player evaluation sheet. That's the sheet you will see if you go to the videos on that start with San Antonio, Atlanta, New York, or any college or NBA team. I will be using the player evaluation sheet. It gives me almost everything I need. It's amazing to me how much education you can get and prepare for games or prepare your team for practice. You need to know that sheet. That's a critical sheet in our design. What we try to do next is our offensive work. We want to know what are plays, this is our structured part, what are plays, how they're performing, using OER to determine it. In other words, by possession, by dividing the points by the possessions. So you come up with a number that hopefully will be close to 1. Very hard with your structured stuff. Most of them will be in the 0.7, 0.80s, unless you really have a good structured stuff. Then we come to the next. We want to know how our fast break performs. We want to know how our unstructured things perform. Transition, breakdown after plays, and no plays. There are unstructured part. They're the biggest part of our production. But we want that measured. We want to know where our points are coming from in the unstructured play. And let me warn you on this. Do your own work. Don't use crossover, or one of, I think is the name, that's Huddle, or Synergy. Synergy is used by the NBA, but they get a different synergy than people you can get. They're not accurate because their definitions are wrong. You must know when a play breaks down. They don't take that into consideration at all. So their numbers are not right. You have to do that. You have to make the decisions. On your own team, it's relatively easy. You know your plays, if you use plays. You know them. You know when all of a sudden they're not using the play anymore. They didn't get a shot off of it. So now they're just playing on their own. That's unstructured. That's a breakdown. Fast break doesn't get a shot. Then they just keep playing. Very few teams pull back up. When they do, they're making a mistake because your defense is very weak at this point. And they keep playing. You have to measure that. You can't just say, well, we must have scored it. You have to measure it. And then there's a lot of times where you just don't run plays, or you don't run anything. Surprisingly, especially in the NBA. There's a lot of those. I think at high school and college there's less, because I think more work is done on their plays and running the fast break correctly. So that's what we want to know on offense. We want to know ourselves, okay? But we also can use this for our opponents. If we're our opponents in general, it's right on the bottom of the player evaluation sheet, everything you need to know. And you can get it off of statistical sheets. But our opponents are something else. It's a part of our design. We use it a lot in preparing for games. What we want to know about our opponents is their player evaluation sheet. I don't ever see a team that I don't find some player that's performing better than the ones that are playing. And on my team too. And I make adjustments for that. But you should know that. You should know what each player, and what you want to look on both yours and the opponents is not the first line that says rating. That's good. That's important to you. But there's another line column. It's called winning. Those are select numbers that must be strong in order to win. And there are just a few of those. But which players are contributing to those? Those are the guys that are helping you win games. It's all there. We want to know that about our opponents too. And we want to know what their per minute is. It's on that sheet. You think he's a good rebounder? You look at the sheet, and he's a .18. That means he gets every .18 of a minute, he gets a rebound. You want guys that are in about .20 and especially above 3.0. The great ones are above 3.0. Now another thing that we use, by the way, and I missed it on the first part for us, we use a game chart. We have a guy, one of our assistants, who has all our plays on there and our unstructured stuff. And he keeps track, possession by possession, on each one of them. So he can come to me at timeout or the head coach and say, hey, this is going good, but this is not going good. Because each game has its own little twist to it. Then we want to know their plays. But we don't want to know all their plays. This is a touchy area. You want to know only those plays that they must run and succeed in to win the game. It shouldn't be more than 5. Many times it's only 4. Those are the plays you prepare for. Forget the rest. Your players have to be strong enough defensively, if you've done a good job working with them, so that they can handle those plays that they run 1 or 2 times or hasn't been effective. But there's 3, 4, or 5 plays they gotta have. Those are the plays you work on. Those are the ones you prepare for. We do not prepare for our opponent's defense. We prepare for our own defense. So on our own defense, what we keep track of during the season is 3 things. 1 is contesting shots. 2 is controlling penetration. And number 3 is defensive rebounding. Controlling, contesting shots and controlling penetration, you must get off a film. but defensive rebound you can get off the stat sheet. By the way, I'll capsulize this a little bit more in just a little bit. So those are the things we want to know. We don't have to spend a lot of time on foolishness or pie in the sky or dreaming. That's what we focus on, those things. It takes us time, though. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's helpful. It's very helpful. And there is a difference between what we measure in season and out of season. The last game was over, you think, oh boy. Yeah, well, for us, it's just a short break and it's back to the films. Now in the off season, we get all of this stuff. Now we reach out farther. We look for things like, I told you this little story about passing, making penetrating passes. We found a lot about that. We found Maurice Jakes using that. We do that during the off season, though. What I just told you is done during the season. So this is what you're really looking at, as how we design our statistics. That's what we work on. That's what we want to know. OER/DER is number one. Number two, player and team, because on the evaluation sheet, your team is there too, ours and opponents. Number three, the play sheet, which is our plays in our unstructured offensive part, ours and our opponents, if we're preparing for a game. On defense, I don't need to know what our opponent's defense are doing. Our stuff will work against any kind of defense. But I do watch to see if they're doing something that, might upset our team because it's novel or it's different, that kind of thing. So really, these two things come off the stat sheets. You can do that. You can do this part if you work hard, probably in a couple hours. I do this personally. I like doing it because by doing it, I learn more. You should all do your own work. Forget all those things, those shortcuts. You just get in trouble with them. And then we use the play sheet. We use the defensive, shot contesting, penetration, defensive rebounding, which comes from the stat sheet. So here's what you take off your stat sheets. Here's what you got to do in the film room. And I said again, you're working both in season and out of season. It's two different things. Now I want to give you the list. It's longer. Of the videos that will go into more depth on this and show you examples. Show you, for example, San Antonio's evaluation sheet, or Golden State. I'm working on them right now. But they're all there. There's a lot of them. I'm surprised at how much there was there. Take your time. I sent that message out to you. The best place to get them is in the archive. It's so simple. You click that archive button. Everything I give you will always be the name, the exact name of the play, of the film, video, and the date. So you go to the archives, find the year from the date, click on that. You have the month, click on the month of that year, and then you have the date, and click on that, and you've got the video. just a ton of stuff there. And it's very easy to reach. You can go to YouTube and do the same thing, but you're going to find it's a lot more time consuming. Before we go to those videos, I just want to tell you something before you leave me. Don't tell me you don't have enough time. I hear that all the time. Well, I got all these things. Well, get up earlier. You don't need to sleep 8 hours during the season. Plan to sleep 5 hours a night, and you're lucky if you get that. That gives you 3 more hours. Then stop watching television. Stop playing games on your mobile thing. Stop watching things on your mobile thing. You can do that. 30-some years ago, I did that. I stopped watching everything. To this day, I do not watch television except to watch games. I got all kinds of times to do these things. You have the time, but you can't spend it in the things that I just mentioned. Get rid of all of that. Get rid of some of your sleep. You don't need all that sleep. And use that time very constructively, doing what we're talking about right here. Now let's go see the list of videos for this session. Thank you. Well, you know what to do with this sheet, and there is a second page. I'm going to let you just look it over. I don't think there's anything I need to add to this. I'll give you maybe 30 seconds to a minute on this page, and then I will move it to the second page. Okay, and we'll now give you a minute on this page. Take a picture or just come back to it. You probably can print it from your phone or your computer. Well, I see I got added from another page. Please, you had this in the first video about system, but it just happened that I forgot to delete it. So don't let it bother you. Well, that's it for today, and thanks for watching. We got another one coming up, and each one from now on gets bigger, both in what we're talking about and in the number of videos. We'll see you next time.